Welcome to another episode. I'm here with Ben Beivers, the co-founder and CRO of Remerge. Last year, Remerge hit 100 million in revenue, and I'm super excited to be talking to you today about your learnings across the almost 10 years you've been with the company now. Ben, how are you?
Hi, Yanis. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
Well, great to have you, and I'm so thrilled to learn more about your evolution at Remerge, right? I mean, you basically were the founding AE. How did that develop? And, I'd love to then dive into your learnings.
Yeah, sure. Maybe like one quick word about Remerge. So we are like an ad tech company. We've basically built a platform to help mobile app developers acquire and grow their user base to, in the end, grow their revenues in a very profitable way. So we started the company in 2014, and yeah, as you mentioned, I was like kind of the founder. So my role is the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, but obviously, like in the beginning, I was account executive, going to the market, listening to customers, signing up first customers, being kind of the bridge of the market to our R&D team, and that has quite evolved over time, obviously. Yeah, so. We raised just a little bit of money in the beginning, so overall less than 4 million. We scaled now to like 180 people. We became profitable early on. And since the organization has scaled, my role changed quite a lot. Yeah, so obviously we started hiring first like AEs right afterwards when we saw like the business model is working. I became a first line manager, which I had done before in other companies, so that was not so new for me. But then became second line manager. That was more focused a bit more on like strategy, I would say. As a first line manager, I was like really just focused on execution, making sure that all the AEs were really well like trained and prepared for the calls, prepared for the meeting, did the follow-ups and everything. As a second line manager, then I was able to kind of get the head out of the woods a little bit and focus a bit more on like strategy, segmentation, penetration strategies essentially. And since everything went really well, since a couple of years, I'm like also now like a third line manager, if you will, and that is obviously then like planning a bit more for the long term of things.
Love it. That's a great introduction, and I'm super curious. How do you, give us some idea about your ACV, team structure, sales cycle length. Yeah.
I mean, like we've been from the beginning focused on the enterprise level segment. Yeah, like we work ideally with like the biggest mobile apps out there, and the ACV it's a bit tough like in ad tech because there's no like contract with a fixed amount signed up front. So basically, what you do is you start running campaigns. And every month, if everything goes well, your customer just increases these budgets. The problematic thing is that they can also stop these budgets any day. Yeah, they just send you a note like, okay, we don't like the performance, we're out. And then no matter like there's no contract that forces them to pay or so. So essentially, we live in a world where we have to fight to renew our budgets every day. Yeah, so I really like this metaphor, like a Formula One team, where you have to like all the pieces and organization on the product side, they have to work hand in hand because like every day you're fighting for this budget. Yeah, like competition is there and every weakness gets exploited. So it's unlike like in the SaaS world where you might sign like a big contract and then you have like a whole year to build up the brand inside the company and to make everyone clear on the customer side that they understand the value of it, and then okay, there's like this renewal date coming up, so I start engaging with the customer to like try to get a renewal. This is an ad tech, it's not the case, right? Like you have to do this from the get-go, from day one on. So this means like the annual contract value is maybe not the best metric. So like we look definitely at like lifetime value. So lifetime value in the enterprise segment is right now in the mid higher 6-digit region. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
comparably high, which means we can also allow for like a certain comparably high CAC, if you will. Yeah, and still our CAC ratio is still like pretty good in the 3 to 1, 3.5 to 1 ratio.
I mean, you've been profitable for a long time, and what you're describing is, I think, something a lot of companies should live in, right? A world where you create happy customers from day one on, and you deliver every day. I think sometimes software hides in these annual contracts, and then they re-engage too late, and actually nobody's using the software. And I think that is really, really dangerous, and something we've seen now in 2023 falling onto many people's foots. Yeah, I'm super curious. I mean, you learned a lot about building pipeline, right? I think you tried a lot of different areas how to build pipeline. I mean, what were some of the failures you lived through, and what is actually working for you?
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, so I mean, like targeting the enterprise segment. I mean, like I'm also consuming all the literature that's out there about like the classic software sales process. And there's a great deal of learnings there, but there's also like a lot of stuff that you can't just like translate one to one into enterprise sales, I think. Yeah. So with enterprise sales, like our sales cycles can be quite long. Yeah. Just to give you an example, last month we just signed up like a customer that I was pitching in 2015. Yeah, so it's 8 years later, and this is not like I would not necessarily say we are like bad. Yeah, like I think we are quite good in sales, but this is like how long it can take for like an enterprise that everybody understood this and they prioritized it and they move forward with it. Yeah, so this is how long it can take, and the so you have like a combination of enterprise customers, organizations moving slowly because of complexity, and they have like quite high budgets to spend, as I just like shared, right? And even like the POCs that we have over time, they change, right? Like we might have in this particular deal might have like dealt with 3 to 5 different POCs over time. So what you have to do is like you have to you can't just like send a junior salesperson and set up some email dripping campaigns and hope you get any response or wait for any like website inbound. Yeah, nobody like who's like a director or VP marketing at a big Fortune 500 company is picking up the phone or like going to your website. Yeah, so that's not working. What we realized is that you have to you have to be in the game. You have to be really inside the ecosystem of the buyer. You have to build the brand. You have to build up the trust. So to just get the awareness, it doesn't mean they're buying it. Just to they might just like join you at some point for like an educational event that you do, right? So ultimately, it's a combination of you have to hire comparably senior people that ideally already have a certain like name in the market, especially in the beginning when you're new in the market and we've like entered like 6 7 different countries and regions. You have to have like this senior people. You have to offer a lot of value up front. Yeah, like just like sending an email, there's just no value for them to even look at it. Yeah, so this only works if you have like very targeted, very high quality educational events to get them away from their desks and come and join you. Yeah, especially like when people are working like remote. In the like in person is like super important. Yeah, like to build up these kind of relationships, you have to like have this in-person experience. Yeah, like from the beginning, what we realized is that events is definitely very important. Yeah, you have to have these touch points where you also talk with where our like sales force is talking to the buyer about personal stuff and other stuff. Not necessarily about like business all the time, but just to like win the trust and like make the buyer understand we are overall like good people. Yeah, that are in it for the long term, and we work in the buyer's best interest. Yeah, and you don't get that when you like jump the gun, push a product, talk bad about the competition, oversell your product. These are all like very bad things that we had to make sure everybody in the sales team understands.
Yeah. And so I know you have a team that spans across 3 different continents, with obviously new logo and existing customers, the importance and the pressure of existing customers renewing all the time. I mean, what type of profiles are you looking for? How do you build such a team? What were your learnings on the team building side?
Yeah, on the team building side, ideally, and I love, I'm referencing here John McMahon's book, the what's it called again? The Sales Professional Lead. Um, the the A and O is that you have to ideally hire A players, because it's such a yeah, you have to have people who have already like a certain reputation in the market ideally, and you have to have people that are like highly adaptive in their performance, because in the enterprise and especially entering new markets, you can't like script everything, so they have to find a lot of stuff out themselves. And in terms of hiring, like it also comes down to like finding people that show very high level of curiosity. Yeah, that are like just like I want to understand the why. The best interviews I have is I leave a lot of room for questions with my candidates, and the best candidates, they really ask me C-level questions about the company and about the market. Then I understand, okay, wow, they are able to adapt to my personality and understand like what's important for me and engage me that way. Yeah, so curiosity, persistence. Yeah, as I said, like if you have sometimes it takes years to win over a customer, you have like a crazy persistence. Yeah, like crazy persistence. So in the interview process, you have to look out for like, okay, how do they approach the process from their end? Yeah, do they really prepare? Are they preparing like we do usually do something like a mock pitch? Yeah, how well is that prepared? Do they follow up with emails fast and in a personalized way? So a lot of stuff you can also only find out by talking to references. Yeah, like to find out about this persistence. What else is important? Yeah, creativity. Yeah, like when like served with a new situation, are they able to come up with new ideas? Yeah, like just sending 20 emails every day is not going to get you in front of the buyer. Yeah, you have to like have your eyes everywhere and come up with new ideas constantly. Yeah, what is a good occasion to put together like a gifting campaign and target certain buyers? Yeah, how can you leverage certain relationships in order to get in front of the buyer? Like it's a combination of a lot of things. There's barely any like easy pattern that you can just take and say like, okay, this is how you do it globally. That's that's works for certain things, but then again, all of these like channels, they tend to run dry fast, right? Like
Yeah.
as you probably perfectly know.
Yeah. And I mean, given your long sales cycle, how do you make sure that those folks stay, right? I mean, I think there's a average tenure of, depends on where you look, between 8 to 15 months in sales in general. that obviously doesn't work for you, right? So I'm curious, like, what do you do to make sure that the best people, grow and stay with the company for a long time?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? So we have to build up this trust on the buyer side, and you don't win this trust when your salespeople are constantly changing. Yeah, like it smells a little bit like, okay, the product or the company can't be that successful, right? If salespeople don't stay around for too long. So that was like definitely like one of the bigger problems we had to solve. And I'd say there's like some easy things you can do, and there's also like some very tough things you have to do. Yeah, in terms of the easy things, yeah, make it easy for the salesperson to find a new home. Yeah, like in the beginning, they don't know your company, they don't know your product, they have a lot of concerns about their success if they join. So you have to like be prepared to be very transparent with them. Yeah, about like how long does it take to really sign up a customer? What is the average quota achievement of the team? How does the ramp up look like? So you have again like the same way how we deal, how we treat our customers. You also treat like new sales candidates. Be in the market, be there for like a long time, build up a very good reputation. That's how you attract the top talent. And that's not necessarily how it works in the beginning, right? Like in a new market, you're not able to do that like fast. Yeah? Like good reputation builds up over time. But you have to do this like constantly, yeah. And when you do this constantly, you get through to the good people who are also not necessarily looking for a new job, right? So you one of the biggest tasks for our people on the ground, the team leads, is to kind of nurture a pool of candidates. Yeah, and they don't go and say like, yeah, like there's a job opening soon. Yeah, this is like the ideally like the 20s conversation you have with that person. So you ideally met that candidate, and ideally you met multiple candidates over a period of years. Yeah, and they know you, they trust you, etc. Before at some point, then you go and say like, we might have something coming up. Yeah, so this is how you ideally operate. So then, what did I say? Like the easy stuff. Yeah, the easy stuff is, I said, like make it easy for them to find a home. Yeah, like don't be too harsh on the ramp up. Yeah, like make it kind of gentle. We usually obviously have like an unlimited target achievement. Yeah, so like yeah, commission payout is infinite, but especially in the ramp up where the fluctuation can be high. So we basically introduced comparably like easy to achieve targets with like a little bit of safeguards on the upper side of things, and the ramp up is comparably long. Yeah, so just to take this fear away of like, okay, I have a massive quota after like 4 months. It's not the case. Yeah, that creates a little bit of like challenges with probation period stuff, etc. Like especially in Germany, we have like a legally enforced like 6 months probation period. So you have to look at different things. Yeah, you can't. Sometimes we have reps that after 6 months don't have any revenues. That's okay. Yeah.
So how do you
You
make
have
sure
to
that
basically find ways to.
how do you make sure that that those are the right people to keep on the bus?
Yeah, you have to obviously look at the past. Yeah, like what did great salespeople who in the end like drove these multi-million dollar deals? What did they do right in the first months, and how was the performance there? Yeah, so we have a very good understanding of like what we can expect after you're being introduced to the company. Yeah? Like what can we expect in the first few months in terms of like learning curve and activity. Yeah, so in terms of are people able to get the attention of buyers? Are they able to get like through and score first meetings? Are they able to convert these first meetings into qualified opportunities? Stuff like that. Yeah. So and then obviously we look at the internal side of things. are they just like curious, and do they show up and like constantly keep asking questions? If somebody like scores an early deal and has revenues, but this person is just like full of herself and doesn't accept like any sort of bad feedback, yeah, then you need to let go, right? That's the revenue is the wrong indicator in that case.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I think that's so strong,
Then
and yeah, something.
there's also obviously like the tough stuff, right? One of the easy stuff is also to allow for like double incentivization. I come from like a background where this was like kind of a big no-no. Yeah, like oh, there's two people earning from the same deal. And it's like, yeah, why is that bad, right? Like the share of commission is kind of like of the overall like deal is acceptable. Yeah. So why would you? And like if you have like a very long like customer lifetime, this is like peanuts. I always had this like, and obviously like I luckily got in the situation that I can set the rules now, and I set the rules in a way like, okay, like who cares? Double incentivation, let's go. And yeah, like again, enterprise sales process, super long, super complex. You wanna have like a broad team with a high level of collaboration working towards the same goal. Yeah, so like if you sign like a big brand in this territory, and you know there's a salesperson sitting in another territory that could benefit from the same brand, so yeah, you pass this over. Then just working on the same customer, we have salespeople, we have account management people, we have marketing people, we have ad operations people. It only works like back to my like Formula One metaphor. It only works if they are all like work hand in hand and put their egos aside.
Yeah, what's the tough stuff?
Tough stuff. The tough stuff. The tough stuff is the tough stuff that is tough because you can't do it easily, and there's no easy playbook, and it requires a lot of iteration and a lot of like sweat and tears. So the tough stuff is like it's not necessarily just down to like sales, but to like overall company success. But especially for salespeople who have, as you mentioned, like a shorter tenure in average, and they are like they can like, if a good salesperson can work anywhere, they can make good money, etc. So how do you keep these people, right? And this only in the end comes down to offer them something that they can't find at a different company, beyond just like pure like money things. Yeah, so that's where we really focus from the beginning to build like a very differentiated culture. Yeah, so to make them really feel part of it. Yeah, and that is not easy, right? There's a lot of different things that drive this, and it develops over time, and it's even like kind of different from region to region. Yeah, but like we've put, for example, a great emphasis on transparency. Yeah, so if you create transparency, just people understand, and it's easier for them to put the dots together themselves, and it also increases the trust, right? So for example, what we do, yeah, for sure. So since the beginning, we started doing like bi-weekly all hand meetings. Yeah. So, and we've never stopped that. Now that we are like 180, 200 people, we still do that. Yeah. So, basically every 2 weeks, we get all together, and all the founders present like what has happened in their departments, also like in a self-critical way, ideally. And what we also do is like we share all the financials. Yeah, like how are we trending this month? What's the forecast for the next month? And basically go through the entire P&L. So everybody who attends, and like it's usually everybody attends, they know exactly about all of our finance down to how much money is in the bank. Yeah. Then we've gotten a lot better in yeah, like documenting everything about the big things, like what's our strategy, yeah? What's our purpose, what's our vision, how do we get there, another really good book that I can recommend here is Good Strategy, Bad Strategy from Richard Rumelt. We've adopted that concept after we realized, oh, we don't have a really good like documented strategy process. And how can you like make people really understand what's going on if you don't have stuff like that documented? Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, oh, there's like some execs and they talk about how they just want to add 100 million here and there, and that's not a strategy, right? So that took a lot of like it took years to get this right. But what we basically do is like we do like twice per year like a written diagnosis. Yeah, and we go through all the areas like what's the diagnosis, what's our point of view on customers, on competition, on the financial markets, then the internal view. Yeah, how good are we at go to market, how good are we at product, etc. So we do like a 360 like diagnosis, and we kind of like say what we think what that means for us. So we take a position in that and tell what that specific finding means for us, and then we translate that into a strategy where we say, okay, this means the focus for the next 6 to 12 months are these three things, and here's a couple of high-level action items that we as the founders can only perform. Yeah, like kind of building out new teams, putting budget here left and right. But from there, it basically trickles down. Everybody understands how do we see the market and where do we want to go. And if people that's very engaging, yeah, because like when people make new discoveries, they find something out about a competitor or so. They share this publicly and they reference it to the strategy and say like, yeah, because this was like an observation that you guys had there, and this was the conclusion. But I think now it has shifted. There's a new insight. And then we jump at this and say, yeah, this is real insight. This changes things. And like people are contributing to the company's midterm strategy. Yeah, this is like very rewarding also. As I said, this is tough stuff, right? This took us kind of years to get it right. The other one is like the classic things when it comes to people or human resources, but to manage your talent, right? And like career development, compensation, performance management. Yeah, like these things are like developing so fast, and there's so many new insights all the time. And how do you get really competitive there? And this is not easy things. Yeah. So for example, we kind of we have a strategy team, and we also created like a culture team. So the culture team meets also in a quite high frequency, and we just look into cultural topics. Yeah, like the long-term difficult things to master. Yeah, how do you get to like a fair compensation? How do you make sure you have like modern standard performance management? Yeah, not based on scores or stuff like that. Like, but real honest conversations around what people want to do, how that fits to the organization, etc. Career development. Yeah, as I said, like you hire a lot of senior salespeople. They all want to grow, right? At the same time, you want to keep the hierarchies very flat, because that only then you have very fast communication, and you have like fast information flow and fast iterations. Yeah, at a company of our size, only 180 people, but half of them distributed in all these offices, you're kind of inclined to build out a lot of like kind of managerial layers, which kills it. Yeah. So how do you keep the organization very flat but offer like a long-term perspective for your salespeople?
Are you still working on transparent compensation?
Yes, this was crazy, right? Like, and kudos to my co-founders who picked us up from somewhere, probably like some Silicon Valley knowledge. We started having transparent salaries from the beginning, and in my background, I came from a more classic world where this was like absolutely no go, right? But I realized, okay, even like if salaries are supposedly not transparent, everybody kind of knows how much everyone is doing, and you try to keep the debate and the discussions around it away from the sunlight, right? So you try to keep it in the dark, and then it kind of like wrong things and wrong narratives can fester there, and that's what you want to avoid. So you have to turn this around and make this a positive thing, and that was completely new for me as well. And yeah, we managed to do this until today. Yeah, like salaries are transparent. Everybody knows how much everybody's doing, and I can say like it kind of creates a certain overhead on management, but you have this overhead as well if you keep it intransparent. So if you nail it, then you can take a topic that's usually kind of yeah, you know, very difficult and very emotional. You can make it actually into a selling proposition. Yeah, because like you have to have these tough conversations. If you and you learn, you have like a lot of tough conversations that go wrong, but over time it's a muscle that all the managers train over time, and if they master this, then it just adds to this transparency and to a feeling that okay, the company is not trying to hide away anything from me. Yeah, I can approach management and talk about something that I find is unfair or so, or I have a question in general. Um, yeah, transparency.
I think it's really unique.
I wanted
I
to.
don't know many companies that have transparent salary, and I remember the conversation early on, you know, sharing that it's also a way to self-discipline, right? Because I think it's like something that is extremely important to have clear salary bands and understanding of compensation structure across the company. And you know, I honestly don't know many companies that do that. I want to switch gears a bit. I mean, I know that Remerge in general is very data driven and very structured in their approach. I think especially with regards to the revenue team. I mean, I know that you started onboarding revenue operations to, you know, get a better understanding of where things stand and improve. I'm curious your learnings around that area and, you know, what it has done to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like as I said, like we the thing about Remerge is like we were kind of forced to internationalize fast. I believe when we started. Obviously, we started out of Germany, which is unfortunately not the hub of the biggest app developers out there. So we had to obviously the first idea. Okay, we have to make it in the States. If you can make it there, yeah. So, but then like there was like another company doing kind of what we did. They got acquired and they were shut down shortly after. One of these crazy ad tech stories, but essentially like there was a window of opportunity to kind of like take their place, and they already were established in certain Asia Pacific areas. So we kind of like said, okay, we have to grab the opportunity and just like go there, right, and take it. They were like even one of the very few inbound calls ever that I received, and like, okay, this other company is like stopping their services. Can you take on our 10 customers? And I said, yeah, sure. Where are you calling from? Yeah, I'm here in Tokyo. Yeah, and suddenly we were big in Japan, right? So this, the problem was obviously we didn't have much structure at this point in time, right? So when I look back, the first years they were like just like so many go-to-market startups within our company everywhere. Yeah, so we had offices in New York, San Francisco, in Seoul, in Tokyo, in Singapore, and these were there were only limited learnings you can have between these markets. Yeah, like again, like very different buyer profiles, different cultures. Yeah, you can't just go in Japan and ask very intimate discovery questions. Yeah, like no way, right? Not happening. Yeah, like you can't take your playbook that works in the States and just go to Asia region and use it there. It's very different. So what I learned obviously is that in the first years where we had all these like startups within Remerge, you have to have a big emphasis on adaptive performance. Yeah, and adaptive performance means you have to hire like really smart people, give them everything they need to figure it out, and just help remove blockers. Yeah. Another great book I want to reference is Primed to Perform, which basically has this concept of you can manage adaptive performance by having a strong culture, and it's not culture like, yeah, I'm the founder, I'm the role model, this is table stakes. Yeah. But like the tough stuff is like what I earlier described as the tough stuff. Yeah, like really good transparency in the company. Everybody knows where you're going. You have really good HR processes, all of that. A lot of these things we didn't even have, obviously, at that time. Yeah, so the basic things to improve adaptive performance we definitely had. Obviously, we were a startup, we were growing crazily, we had a really good story, so this was very appealing for people to join and be very engaged. But yeah, you also hit roadblocks there over time. And then like, what do you do with an office that stays flat in revenue for like a year? Yeah, like how do you deal with that? Long story short, I think in the beginning there was definitely more emphasis on like adaptive performance and like traveling a lot. Recently, we try to shift our attention more towards then how can we help these local startups that reach like a certain threshold to scale further. Yeah, like because this kind of like just like startup, and there's just like a handful of people that do everything together and like are highly adaptive. At some point, this doesn't scale anymore. Yeah, so they made it to multi-million dollar in run rate. They grow to like 10, 15, 20 people, and this kind of in the beginning, this kind of for like chaotic situation doesn't work there anymore. You have to have structures, right? So that's where we started to focus more on building out revenue operations. And revenue operations like was born from the idea to just even understand what's going on. Yeah, you scale the team to 20 people somewhere, and they're doing like two digit in the millions in terms of revenues, but somehow they hit a roadblock. Yeah, and then you can't help anymore if you don't have any insights. So to be able to properly diagnose a business, you have to have data. And in order to have the data, you have to have certain consistent processes. Otherwise, like if everybody just does their thing, you don't understand what's potentially like broken. So that was like the original idea of like how revenue operations was born. And yeah, we made great progress in developing the key, like the core processes that are necessarily to really diagnose the business. And what the outcome was is really like, okay, wow, we have to enable our regional team leads way better. Yeah, sales team leads, account management team leads. You can imagine like if you started in a new country with like the first person, maybe that person has a sales background, but not necessarily like an account management background. Yeah, so account manager in our context, they take over a customer after they went live, and they develop this customer then in the long run. Yeah, so that's more like a bit more like a farmer type versus a salesperson is more a hunter. So if you have like somebody who started like a country and was able to keep up with the growth and maybe became like the overall country manager or so, they don't necessarily have the account management background or vice versa. Yeah, so how do you enable them to become to also master the other side of the business? And yeah, with revenue operations, we finally got these insights to tell them, okay, here's how the typical funnel works. Yeah, and here's like some deficiencies in that particular stage. Yeah, or like vice versa. This is like the level of quality that we need from an account manager when they do like a quarterly business review with a customer with like a QBR. So these are like that's the support that the central teams can give. Yeah, so you have like your local teams that are very much managed by like a kind of like a value leader. They define the priorities. What's important now? We don't know at headquarters like what's important now, right? It's like the local market is so dynamic that you don't want to slow them down. You give them full control over priorities. Vice versa, developing the local roles and enabling the local roles, that is something we figured out is done better from a global perspective.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I hear you talking, and I think it goes so deep on so many different levels. I mean, I'd love to end this with like maybe your summary of like what are your top 3 learnings of these 10 years starting Remerge, growing Remerge, making it as successful as it is today. I mean, if you could pick 3, what are your top 3 in like 3 sentences?
Let's see if I get to 3. So there's no shortcuts. Yeah, like it's incredibly tough, and you have to be there. Yeah, like I was traveling just like so much to be everywhere, and whatever you hear about the classic VC narratives, triple triple, double double, playbook, copy paste, blah blah blah. I mean, for me, it's all yeah, it's not bullshit, but it's never linear. And you find something that works. It works until a certain extent. You hit a plateau, and then it's like, okay, what's next? And you start from square one. Yeah, like what's not working? What's the next thing? Yeah, and it's not linear, and you have to be on top of it all the time, and don't believe the media. I don't mean this in a populist way. Don't believe the classic. Everything is linear and like goes just like right and up. This is not how it works. Yeah. Then yeah, people. Yeah, like you can't just like rule top down. That's not the way. Like I see like the leadership. They kind of create a platform. Yeah, the platform is the company with all the resources. And if you like if you get the platform right, then the people, they will like grow, they will bloom, they will do the important work. Yeah, like I don't like these like HR like organizational pyramids where like the CEO is on the top. I pretty much envision it the other way around. It's a pyramid on the flip side. The CEO is at the bottom, yeah, who can't do anything. He can't go out and sell a deal, retain a customer. In our case, he actually can because he's amazing. But like usually that's not how it is, right? It's layers of onions, and every layer like carries the next layer above, and the ultimate like lines. These are the people that do the work, right? They go out and they sell the company, they sell the product, they excite the customers. These are the most important people. The rest is overhead. And this overhead has to be very slim and has to be, they don't deserve the credit. Yeah. Yeah. If you get that concept right, I think then you are able to build up a very strong team of individual contributors in the end that really make the difference. That was 2 points, right? So the third one.
I don't know. I mean, it feels like we should
very much
stop
like
it here.
I have one more.
Go.
One more. We have five founders. Yeah, I think when I look at companies with single founder, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine it. 5 founders, like you have like just a breadth in how you can divide like how you can distribute the problems that I think has been like so beneficial for us. If I had to like do one thing more outside of go to market or revenue, I would definitely not survived until now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's all my wisdom. I hope it was interesting.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ben. It was fantastic, so nuanced, so in depth, and yeah, I mean, all the best for the next 100, 200, 300 million revenue. Super excited about where Remerge is going, and yeah, really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Jan. This was like great pleasure